Hello, sophomores. Well, this is the flipping of the classroom screencast for Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is entitled, as it says here on the screen, Our Loving God, Father and Creator. If you would, as you're taking notes while listening to this, also have your textbook open to page 16, and we'll be flipping through the chapter as we go. So, the first thing that the chapter does is it asks, what are the many different ways that we can think about God existing? Because there are many. There's many different ways that human beings think about God and imagine Him existing. On page 16, it tells this little story about the little boy traveling on a train. And this old man comes up to him saying, are you traveling by yourself? Yes, I'm traveling by myself. How far are you going? I'm going to the end of the line. Well, aren't you worried, making this long journey by yourself? And he says, well, no, my daddy's the engineer. The whole idea that what seems to be unseen in the universe is sometimes the most real thing about the universe. And obviously, we're pointing to the existence of God. So there are many, many different ways that we human beings can think about God. And starting on page 17, they give us some examples. The first example they give is monotheism. You guys learned this term last year. You know that it means believing in one God, and that there are sort of three major monotheistic faiths in the world today. And those three faiths are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all three of which have sort of grown out of each other. First Judaism, then Christianity, then Islam. And here we see the symbols of those faiths, the cross, the Star of David, the crescent and star, which is a symbol for Islam, as well as this Arabic script over here, another some symbol of Islam. There's also polytheism. And I've got two images here of religions that are still around today, one more so than another. Many millions of people in the world practice Hinduism, which, as you can see from this graphic over here, has a huge pantheon of gods, a huge group of gods, Shiva, Vishnu, and whatnot. There's even a god that is growing out of the navel of the main god here, sitting on a lotus blossom. So many gods in Hinduism, as well as Shinto, an ancient Japanese religion as well. So polytheism, many, belief in many gods. Then we've got deism. That is on the next page, page 18, where they talk about deism. In your book, it says the belief that God did create the universe, but that he takes no further interest in it. And I have over here belief that God created the universe, but is now distant and uninvolved and doesn't have anything to do with the universe. There's no interaction. This graphic over here is a typical symbol used in deism, the unfinished pyramid. And I know you all have probably seen this before because it is the same unfinished pyramid that is placed on our dollar bill. And on our dollar bill, the top of that unseen pyramid has that all-seeing eye, supposed to represent the eye of God, but the distant eye of God. It's because during the founding of our country, way back in 1776, deism was a popular view of God amongst people of the Enlightenment. Now, you guys probably in history class learned about the Enlightenment. If not last year, then you're learning about it this year. The Enlightenment, the Age of Reason, and many Enlightenment people had trouble believing in an active personal God. They saw God more kind of like this guy, a watchmaker. God is the watchmaker of the universe. A watchmaker, they put the watch together, they make all the different gears and the cogs and the wheels and the little thing that you wind up, and then they wind up the universe, and then they just let the universe go on ticking. The universe just ticks and ticks and ticks, but the watchmaker doesn't have to be there for it to happen. That's the deistic concept of God. There are also people that don't have a belief in God or have, in a sense, shed their belief in God. If theism is belief in God, then atheism is belief that there is no God. Now, I've got some older atheist thinkers here. We've got Sigmund Freud here on the left, and we've got Friedrich Nietzsche on the right. Both are German. I'm sure that is purely a coincidence. Sigmund Freud, as it says here, he's known as the father of modern psychology. So he is a very important figure to people who enter the field of psychology. He's not the only person that they study, but he is still someone that people look at, who has his model of the personality, the id, the ego, the superego. He's a very famous guy. Now, Freud was an atheist because he believed that the existence of God was something that our subconscious mind created, because our subconscious had this need for a perfect father figure. So that's what it says down here, that God is just a creation of our subconscious mind because we feel let down by our imperfect fathers, so we need a perfect father figure, and we call that perfect father figure God. As opposed to Nietzsche. Nietzsche, he invented the concept of the Superman. He actually kind of coined that phrase, whereby he says human beings have the capability of becoming Supermen, of becoming, these powerful beings. But one of the things that prevents us from being these Supermen, these powerful beings, is belief in God. So in one of his writings, he has this famous moment where he has this madman running through the streets, and the madman is asking, "Where is God? Where is God? God is dead. We have killed him." That's a famous line from Nietzsche. So there are people who believe that, belief in God is a drain on human beings. It's something that's very much around today in the writings of people like Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, and Sam Harris. There are three famous atheist authors around nowadays who kind of proselytize, which means kind of try to spread their faith by saying, we need to save people from belief in God. We need to save people from religion. So there's that way of thinking about God. Now, there's agnosticism. Agnosticism, it's not quite atheism. The word literally, agnosis, means no knowledge. Gnosis is the Greek word for knowledge, and agnosis means no knowledge. So an agnostic says that people can't have any knowledge of God. God is unseeable. You can't see God. He's invisible. So it is impossible for anyone to claim knowledge of God. And I went on an agnostic website, and this was a famous catchphrase. They said, "I don't know, and you don't either." So it's sort of like a cynical sort of thing where anyone who claims to have knowledge, an agnostic says, "You don't know anything." Now, this is something that I've been dealing with ever since I started teaching. There are some people in the world who believe that in order to be a person of faith, in order to be a person who believes in God and has religion, that you have to give up your brain. You have to give up your reason. You have to deny that facet of being a human being, our reason and our thinking ability. Nothing could be further from the truth. Yes, faith and reason are two different things, but I have a quote in the classroom by Pope John Paul II. He was Pope before the current Pope is today. And Pope John Paul II said, "Faith and reason are like two wings on which the human spirit rises to the contemplation of the truth." Most serious people of faith are also people who know how to use their brains. They might not be, huge scholars, but they also believe that you have to use your mind. Your mind can't be disengaged from your faith. If it is, then the faith is going to eventually weaken and die, because you're either going to not use your mind at all, or you're going to use your mind and not use it enough to try and hold on to your faith. People of faith can be people, and should be people, that use their mind, use their brain. All right, this is a bit of a review from last year. On page 19 in your book, they have something that was in your purple book from last year. It's something from this man here, Thomas Aquinas. Here's good old Tommy right here. This image, you've probably seen it before. It's been in textbooks in the past. In one hand, he has the church. Another, he has a book. I think it might be his book, the Summa Theologica, but it could be the Bible as well. And at his heart, he's got the Eucharist. Thomas was a firm believer that theology was faith, but not just pure faith. It was faith seeking understanding, not just blind faith, not just I believe because mommy and daddy tell me so, not just belief because father so-and-so tells me so, but true, honest to goodness belief. I'd like you, when you're done listening to this, to just refresh yourself and take some notes on his 5 arguments, logical arguments, for the existence of God. So if you could just jot down some notes from page 19, that would be great, and I'll check that in class tomorrow. And now, if you will, oh, I already had you turn to page 19, never mind. Your homework is going to be to take notes on Aquinas' 5 arguments, as I said. It's kind of a review from last year. And then I would like you to look at page 17. There is a green section on page 17 in your book called God Statements. Each of these statements has to do with God, some opinion about God. I would like you to, in your notebook, rank those statements from number 1, which means if a statement is number 1, it means I believe this statement, the strongest of all, and make all the way down to number 8, a statement that you do not believe at all. So that's how I would like you to rank those statements. They're different statements about the existence of God or the reality of God. All right, and if there are any questions, you can email me through Edline. Good luck, and I'll see you in class tomorrow. Thank you.